keeping up with our motto, let learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure. Here we are with a remote teaching and learning process to bridge the gap. Happy learning, students.
Hello students. Today we are going to see the chapter from Science and Technology part 2. Chapter number 3, that is Life Processes in Living Organisms part 2. Students, we have already completed the first 3 parts of the topics where we have covered the topics like asexual reproduction in unicellular and multicellular. Then, sexual reproduction in plants, where we are discussed about pollination, fertilization, germination, and the last part was the sexual reproduction in humans, where we have discussed about the male reproductive, female reproductive, development, and birth. Today, we are going to come to the last part of this topic that is related with the menstrual cycle and reproduction and modern technology. Starting with the very first part, that is menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle is the cycle which is observed in females. Female reproductive system undergoes some changes at the puberty, and those changes repeats at the interval of around 28 to 30 days, and these repetitive changes are called as menstrual cycle. Now this particular menstrual cycle is carried out in presence of four hormones. The four hormones are follicle stimulating hormone, which is called as FSH, luteinizing hormone, which is called as LH, estrogen, and the last is progesterone. So the whole menstrual cycle is controlled with the help of these four hormones. Let us understand the whole menstrual cycle. In this menstrual cycle, the first hormone which plays an important role is follicle stimulating hormone. One of the several follicles in the ovary starts to develop along with the oocyte. Under the effects of this follicle stimulating hormone, this follicle starts maturing, and when it starts mature, it starts secreting an hormone called as estrogen. As the estrogen is released, this endometrium starts the growth of it. That is, there is a regrowth of endometrium taking place. This regrowth of endometrium continues, and a stage is reached where the follicle completes its development. The moment where the follicle completes its development, the next part is continued with the help of the hormones called as luteinizing hormone. Because as the follicle completes its development, the, it bursts under the effect of luteinizing hormone and oocytes are released. This release of oocytes is called as ovulation. After the ovulation, the remaining tissues of the burst follicle forms corpus luteum. This corpus luteum starts secreting the hormone called as progesterone. As soon as the progesterone starts releasing, the endometrium glands are secretes their secretion under the effect of progesterone. Such endometrium is ready for implantation of the embryo. Now, if the oocyte is not fertilized within 24 hours, this corpus luteum becomes inactive and transforms into corpus albicans. Due to this, secretion of estrogen and progesterone stops. That means once the oocyte is not fertilized, the whole cycle is repeated in the reverse direction, where the first, the estrogen progesterone stops completely. The endometrium glands starts to degenerate in the absence of these hormones, and tissues of degenerating endometrium and unfertilized ovum are discarded out through the vagina. Now, this is accompanied with continuous bleeding for 5 days, and this is called as menstruation. This is what about menstrual cycle has been given in this part. The whole menstrual cycle can be understood with the help of this video which is indicated here.
Menstrual cycle involves proliferative phase. Proliferative phase is also called as follicular phase or stage of repair. In this stage, proliferation repairing of endometrial lining takes place. Ovulatory phase. During this period, ovulation takes place and body temperature rises, which remains high until the onset of next menstrual period. Secretory phase. Secretory phases under the control of progesterone and estrogen secreted in corpus luteum, also known as progravid phase, prepares endometrium for pregnancy and implantation. Destructive phase. Destructive phase is also called as stage of menstrual flow, which lasts for 3 to 5 days. During pregnancy, it does not retain the corpus luteum. It is replaced by scar tissue called as corpus albicans.
So, after the menstrual cycle, the next part of the chapter is related with reproduction and modern technologies. Now, reproduction, many couples cannot have children due to the various reasons. In case of women, it can be because of irregularity in the menstrual cycle or difficulties in oocyte production, obstacles in the oviduct, difficulties in the implantation, and many other reasons are responsible for this. Absence of sperms in the semen, slow movement of sperms. These are the different reasons which can be observed in males. But now, with the help of advanced medical techniques, which we are going to see now, the childless couple can have a child. There's three techniques which are available right now. The first one is called as IVF, that is in vitro fertilization. In this technique, fertilization is brought about in the test tube. That is, from the male gamete, the sperms are taken, the female gamete, the eggs are taken, and those sperms and eggs are fertilized externally. This particular technique is called as IVF, which is very useful for the childless couples who has the problems like less sperm count or obstacle in oviduct, etc. The second method which is available is surrogacy. Some women have the problems in implantation of the embryo in the uterus. Such women can take the help of modern remedial technique called as surrogacy. In this technique, oocyte is collected from the ovary of the woman having the problem with the implantation in the uterus. And this oocyte is fertilized in the test tube, as we have seen in the IVF technique. Now, this embryo, which is formed from such fertilization, is implanted in the uterus of some other woman having normal uterus. Such a woman in whose uterus the embryo is implanted is called as surrogate mother. So that is called as surrogacy, which is an extended form of your IVF. And the third method is called as sperm bank or semen bank. There are various problems in the sperm production. in case of many man. So, to have the children in case of such couples, a new concept of sperm bank has been introduced. It is similar to the blood bank. Semen which is ejaculated by the desired man is collected and thereafter through physical and medical checkup stored in the sperm bank. As per the wish of the needful couple, the oocytes of the movements of the consent couple is fertilized by the IVF technique. Resultant embryo is implanted into the uterus of the same woman. This is the modern methods for couples those couples who don't have childs. These are the three methods for it. So the last part of the topic is related with the twins. Now twins means two babies. These twins are categorized in two types. The first is called as identical twins, which is also called as monozygotic twins. Monozygotic twins are the twins which looks same because they are developed from an single embryo, that is during the early period of the embryonic development. Within 8 days of the zygote formation, the cells of that embryo has got divided into two groups. So they are called as monozygotic twins. Whereas the second category is called as unidentical twins, which is also known as dizygotic twins. Now, this chances of getting monozygotic as well as dizygotic is occasionally. In case of monozygotic, we have seen that a single embryo has got divided into two groups, and so two different fertilization are carried out. But in dizygotic twins, two oocytes are released from the ovary of a woman, and both these two oocytes are fertilized by two separate sperms. And since two separate sperms are used, two separate zygotes are formed. Hence, two embryos are formed from those two zygotes. Now, both of these embryos are separately implanted into the uterus, and hence we get a dizygotic twins. So these are the first two main categories about monozygotic and dizygotic twins. Now in monozygotic twins, we have seen that the separation or the division in two groups has to be carried out within the 8 days of the zygote formation. But But if this separation is not been carried out within the 8 days, then we get the twins something like this, which is called as conjoined twins or siamese twins. So conjoined twins or siamese twins are the twins in which the separation is not been completed. So they are a category of monozygotic twins, where after the 8 days the separation are not been completed. As a result, some part of their body is joined with each other. It can be any part. Head, hand, shoulders, body, any part can be joined with each other. So they are called as conjoined twins. So that is about this topic called as twins. So I hope everyone has understood this topic very well. So we have completed the chapter. Thank you, dear students.